5 years or something of that summer club program. A big part of what neighborhood ministries has been over the years also is like growing up with the community. So we started my program.
Let's have you count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4.
In the early days,
Okay.
there were
So,
a lot of kids.
I'm pretty sure you've been interviewed before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question, kind of repeat the question back, then answer back to me, and then if you mess up, just kind of pause,
Yeah.
Sticking around,
take a breath, maybe try to lead off. If you need to start over, that's fine.
Okay.
No big deal.
Yeah.
for junior hires, so we had 99
You're in film. Let's have you come this way.
We're going to do more staying in school, sticking around.
Right there. Perfect.
Programs, and we had Wednesday nights, Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. Some of those kids started graduating from high school.
So Donovan, take one.
In the early days, he graduated from high school. So we kind of, like, we were cycle breakers. They were heroes in the community. We started sticking their pictures up on the wall and really trying to celebrate them and lift them up in the community. Is like, we want folks who are going to graduate high school, go to college, be leaders. Like, in the early days, some of the kids, it was like, the main only vision.
Okay, question one. How did you find neighborhood ministries?
Okay, so essentially, we're talking 20 years ago now. I've had siblings that have been involved with neighborhood for years prior. They were more acquainted with neighborhood overall. And basically, my older sister said this would be something you'd really get a kick out of. It's during the summertime. She said I'd be there with you as well. And it was basically a big unknown. She kind of, said it would be an adventure that I would enjoy. And that was pretty much all that sold me on it. I said, fine, let's do it. Didn't really know what I was walking into, and I didn't realize how much it would eventually change my life.
Okay, tell me a little about you and Alfonso and the Vasquez family. How'd you meet, and how did that relationship grow?
Okay, so how I met Alfonso and the Vasquez family essentially started from my very first time at Neighborhood as a leader. I'm going to pause for just 1 second.
So again, these other core values of like leadership development or long-term relationships, we think all flesh out here.
How I started meeting Alfonso and the Vasquez family was my very first year at Kids Club. I was a leader, and when the kids first walk in, there's tons of leaders and tables. It's kind of chaos. And as I understood it, you have whatever kids kind of come to your table, those kind of become your kids. Well, my table was already full. And like I said, it was kind of just chaos all around within the classroom. But I remember there were 2 boys that walked in, amongst others. They came in late. And I remember thinking that in that moment, I felt like the Lord was telling me, those are your boys. And it was confusing because, of course, I already had a table that was full of kids. So I said, I don't know how that's going to work. But when they went over to another table and they saw another leader, that leader clearly could not handle all of the commotion that was going on. And she said, I need help. I said, okay, I can take a few off your hands. You 2, come with me. And so those 2 were Alfonso and his brother, Jose. And once they joined my table, I had 11 kids around me that I knew, okay, this is how it's going to work for the next 2 weeks. It's like, I didn't say it as official as I'm going to be your leader, but it was very much so assumed. And it really kind of started from that point forward. I knew kind of instantly. I felt like it was already the Lord that told me that they were going to be my boys. And from that, I knew hopefully it was going to be something that was lifelong.
Okay. What keeps you coming back to neighborhood ministries?
What keeps me coming back to neighborhood ministries is, I think, founded in what neighborhood really is. It's not only just a community, it is a sowing ground. You have to think of it in a few ways. It's like when you come in, you're planting seeds. You're planting your experience, your life. You're planting everything that's within you, within the hearts and lives of these kids. But at the same time, you're also that fertile soil, and you're getting the same from them as well. They're sowing into your life as well. So it kind of goes both ways. And when that's done right, I think that just like any tree, it takes root and then it grows. It grows both ways, downward and upward. And so for me, it's like the fruit of that tree is what always keeps me coming back. The opportunity, the idea that this community has always been here, always will be here, and it's always that fertile ground that I can continue sowing into, and it always continues to sow back into me as well.
Let me go back up to my questions. So we're on the 40-year anniversary of Neighborhood Ministries.
Yeah.
Kind of tell me what that means to you. 40-year anniversary, the ministry being around that long. Can you highlight some of your favorite times or moments, any of your memories that you can share?
It's interesting. I mean, obviously, I haven't been around the entire 40 years. I've been around halfway through of Neighborhood's existence in that regard. But what's interesting is that you never know what experiences in your life are really going to make lasting impact. And so I've always just loved, the idea that no matter where I've gone, I mean, now I live in New York City, but it's like no matter where I go, there's a sense of home here. And so even coming back to visit, you kind of wonder if those chapters of your life, if they're really as powerful as you remember them, or if those relationships are really as strong as you remember them. And so the thing that I really reflect on, just seeing the amount of time that I've spent here, is not only are they real, but they're powerful and they reverberate. The relationships I've built, even just with the Vasquez family and them and within my life, these are lifelong friendships and lifelong relationships. And so I can't help, anytime I think about Neighborhood, I'm instantly gone back to not only them, but each of the kids that I've been able to meet and influence, and they've had an impact on my life. I think going forward, everywhere that I go in my life, no matter who I meet, I'm going to always have remnants of those who I met previously here at this space. When I'm meeting people who have gone through hard times, or they have a difficult life, I can connect with them on a level of, not only do I know that because I've lived some aspect of your life, but I have people that are still in my life from years ago who we kind of went through these things together. And so I feel like I'm equipped with everything that Neighborhood is and offers. I'm equipped with that to deal with life and with other people in ways that I wouldn't have been able to fathom just by, doing life with other, charities or ministries or whatever it is. It's like there's something real about it. And the blessing for me, either reflecting back or looking forward, is that I got to be a part of it.
That's cool. Really cool. Since you mentioned the Vasquez family, I'm assuming you have photos with him and you and Alfonso, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of those photos I would like.
Yeah.
Let me see what else.
If you want, I don't know how much footage or relevancy of certain things I could talk about, but
go ahead.
I can just tell you all kinds of little just stories in general about.
Go ahead.
I mean, a lot of the stories I have really are based with Kids Club, because that is how I was kind of brought into the fold. But I think that it is interesting. It is interesting just to kind of see how things, not only how they've changed, but just the impact of what it is that you do. I like to entertain. And Neighborhood, even in that right, kind of gave me opportunities to be able to do that with doing program for Kids Club, for a few different years or whatnot. And so even coming up with characters and things like that, I was thoughtful about how we can make these characters connect with kids. And so early on, when I used to live here, that was something where, you come up on the stage and you're finding and you're looking for, and it's a weird phenomena. It's almost like when you're up there and the kids are screaming and hooting and hollering, it's almost like you're looking for the kids who aren't, because then you're realizing, you're identifying where you can make these connections. You know that a lot of these kids are coming from homes where they don't have much, or they have a hard family life, or just coming to Kids Club is that breath of fresh air that they need. And so it sounds so silly, but like I would be up in character on the stage, and I would find, these kids who might not be smiling, and my only goal during that time was, I'm going to make that kid laugh. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to make them laugh. And so either from the dialogue, or falling down on the stage, or dancing, or throwing candy, whatever it was like you're setting these micro goals just to make a kid smile, just to make them laugh. And so what's been great also with Neighborhood is that I've been able to do that, be involved with program and whatnot while I lived here, but then even going to New York, there have been a few different occasions where they've been able to still integrate me in some kind of a way where I would do, pre-recorded characters and dialogue and whatnot, and then they would play them on the screen. And so even if I wasn't here in person, it was still an opportunity that you're able to make some type of connection, and the kids could really enjoy it. So one of the ones that really stuck out was a few years ago, I revived a character that I had from years ago called Grandpa Abuelo. And so we pre-recorded all the things from Grandpa Abuelo. I got character in New York, and I recorded all of these stories that Grandpa tells, and then we had another character that would be here in real life, and they would interact with Grandpa through Skype. And it was fun, and it was it was what it was. And then I heard, which really touched me, was the next year, every year they do a different program or whatnot. Someone had went up to one of the people here, and they said, well, where's Grandpa Abuelo this year? And even that thought of just like, you don't even realize you're being funny and making a character, but these kids carry that with them. And, even from year to year, to know that in some small way you've made an impact on one little kid by just telling stories, it's powerful. I loved it so much. And I'm going to tell you another story too that has nothing to do with that, but it's just with Kids Club. This made me laugh because I saw it on the tables here. All right, so this photo I'm holding, this is me holding it many years ago. You can tell it's many years.
Bring it up a little bit.
Yeah,
right there.
You can tell it's many years ago because I had hair. But I'm holding a cloth that says "My Dream," and you see a little airplane and a battleship, and they're shooting things and whatnot. And here's the story behind this photo and why it touches me so much. One of the activities was each of the kids would kind of have this cloth, and they can draw whatever their dream was, whatever they wanted to be when they grew up. And then all of these pieces of cloth were going to be stitched together, and you're going to have this entire, piece of all these kids and their dreams and their futures. And it was beautiful. And so I had one of my boys, I could see him drawing this. I didn't know what he was drawing. It's my dream. I don't know what his dream would be. But I remember, just as an artist myself, sometimes the way that as an artist, sometimes you play when you're drawing is that, you're drawing out what it is that you want done. So this battleship is shooting down the airplane, and I'm trying to figure out, what does this have to do with what he wants to be when he grows up? I just didn't get it, But I thought, it just seemed to me like he's kind of playing with the materials. So I just asked him, I said, I noticed that here you have the ship and you have the airplane, but I don't exactly know, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? What is your actual dream? And this little third grader looks at me, and all of a sudden I see his tears just kind of build up, and he goes, I'm just 10 years old. I don't know what I want to be with my life. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this kid, he really thought I was being so serious about it. It has to be about your dream and your future. I said, it's okay, honey. It's all right. Your dream's perfect. And so this really meant a lot to me. I just thought I have to, hold on to that cloth and pose with it because it just was too funny to me. I love that. Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Whatever other kind of things I don't know what other kind of direction you want to take it to share about.
No, just trying. If you got anything else you want to share?
Because that I didn't realize the scope of anything, but the story that I shared with you last Friday about going to the kid's mother and asking if I can take him to Lake Day. That was the Vasquez family. Yeah, wow. And that was Fonzie, who didn't know how to swim at the time, and so during that first kids club, I was teaching him how to swim, just so that we'd be able to do Lake Day, and their mom trusted me, just from that relationship we built over those 2 weeks of letting the boys come to Lake Day.
That's cool.
And man. Yeah, it's really and it's incredible too, because I remember thinking that first year, Kids Club at that time, it was for me, it was I didn't think it was gonna be something I was gonna do every year. It was like, this is a one-time thing essentially. Yeah. But then you build these relationships with these kids, and at the time, I didn't have a cell phone or social media, and so I actually thought, leaving on that last day, I remember seeing Alfonso and Jose, and the rest of my boys, but those two particularly, and I remember thinking, I don't know if I'm going to see them again, but I remember thinking, they really changed my life. And then the next year, when I showed up, they showed up, and it became this thing where it was like letting them know, I'm always going to keep coming back. As long as you're going to keep coming back, I'll keep coming back. Yeah. And then when we got old enough to the point where we could exchange numbers and actually stay in contact, it was like, okay, this is lifelong now. This is we're going to do life.
Yeah, it's some incredible stuff. Like I said, I was only here the one day, Friday, and then I just kind of seen the kids worshiping, and it wasn't all fancy and stuff. It was just put up. They understand churches try to get worship down perfect.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
the kids don't see that way.
Yep. That's
They don't
right.
see it that way.
That's right.
They're just singing and say, man, God, that's it.
That's right.
Jesus.
Yes.
That's all they care about.
Yes.
They don't care about how it sounds.
Yes.
We
Yes.
as adults, we grow up and like it's crazy. And
Yeah.
how our lives all change because we were told something or we heard something or
Yeah.
someone said this and we believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. And it's amazing too to just see, like, you know, when kids really I think when kids know that, I mean, I know it's that old, like, that trope of, like, you know, no, they don't care what you know, they know that you care, and it's about knowing what you care, you know, that you care. I understand that, but I want to underscore how true that is, because it's a weird experience where you really feel like you recognize these kids see in you more than you see in yourself. And it's ultimately like they're seeing Jesus, really. And for me, every year that I've had all of these different kids, it became this thing of, Lord, how can I just let you just do what you need to do through them so that they can see how much you love them, you know? And there's a certain dying to yourself in that regard, because we want to get things perfect. We want to, it's our ego kind of gets in the way, and we want to present, you know, this, that, and the other in a way that's, and the kids don't care about that. They're just like, oh, you know, it's all God. It's like they see things so much more clearly in that way. And it's a blessing to just, you know, because I don't think they realize how much they bless you. Yeah. Like, I don't think they realize the impact they have on your life. Yeah. You're just their leader. They're like, all right, this is what you got us to do. All right, let's go do it. All right. Yeah. And like I said before, it all reverberates. You know, one of the big full circle moments for me was years later when I got to come to Kids Club and be a leader, and Fonzie got to be a leader, and we got to be a leader in the same class. It was that, because upon meeting him, you know, he didn't have like a relationship with Jesus, right? And so you want that to be a main paramount point of their life, of course, but then there's something where, for me, for seeing him and other kids gather on him and say, he's our leader, to say Fonzie's our leader, you know, and to be in that same class with him and watch him and just know, like, that seed from years ago when you felt when I felt the Lord say, that's your boy, and then seeing that happen again, you know, for him, for other kids, and then seeing just like people just to know like who he is, because it's like he kept coming back, and he's sowing into other kids, and then they're sowing into other kids. It really, that profoundly has changed my life, watching that, just watching it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have nothing to do with me. I didn't do it. It was just like I got to watch it.
Yeah, and I got a chance to interview him on Friday at the Kids Club, and just hear him talking, and he's genuine, man.
He's
a really, really cool dude, and I used to interact with him. When I first met him, I was like, I remember his name. And I said, don't you remember Ray with Vision Link? Because he used to always communicate through email, and he was a part of it. He would send me pictures sometimes, so I could build out the campaign and stuff. But it's and then, you know, so when you put a face together, when somebody you communicate through email, it's cool to finally meet him.
Yeah, and I remember when he was in third grade. Yeah, it was that first year of Kids Club, and you know, you're presenting the gospel in different ways. But I do remember a lot of my kids, you know, they were understanding where I was coming from and what was being kind of, you know, presented. And a lot of these kids, they would start relationship with. But I remember Fonzie was real hesitant at first, and he wasn't just going to dive in like that. Yeah. And it was like he had to see like what's real here. You know, are you real? Like what's really, you know, what's really going on? And so just it's powerful to see. It's powerful to see God become real for people, and obviously, as you can see, anyone who meets him now, you just see like, he's as real as you're gonna get, you know. Their whole family, they've really, from that, even that, like I said, that very first year, it was like they enveloped me, you know. It really did kind of go both ways. And at first it was just he and Jose. I would, you know, whenever I'd come into town, I would, you know, take them out. We'd go hang out together. This would be, you know, it's like I said, this is just neighborhood really just kind of sets you up to be able to make these relationships. But it was like, okay, we're going to do life together. And then at a certain point, I remember them asking me, you know, I would always come and pick up the two of them because they were my boys. But of course, they had their younger brother as well. You know, there's 6 of them, you know, 3 sisters and then 3 brothers. And at one point they said, you know, could Juan come with us, the younger brother? I'm like, of course. If he's your brother, he's my brother. We're all brothers, you know. And so it's also been awesome in that regard too, of like you have individual relationships with each of them, you know, and that still continues to this day as well, where it's like we're family.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this stuff.
Yeah, my pleasure.